Hey everybody, Jason Burmis here with, of course, John Fitch, as we are every week for Mixed Martial Mindset. Now, we are streaming on YouTube, John, so there might have to be some, like, boop talk, some getting around, because there's a lot of stuff, videos, life I want to go over, but I would assume you, like the rest of the world, saw that scary performance from Francis Ngannou.
Yes, UFC was on the TV this weekend. Enjoyable card. Pretty good fights overall.
So I was actually calling fights as the card started on the main card. I was still in the middle of it, but that didn't stop me. So basically, as the fanboy I am, I've got like a little mini tripod, just like the thing I have set up here, where I'm like kind of got my own record going. But then I was able to take my second phone and prop it up under the tripod and watch those fights as I was calling the other ones. So I was able to catch the Kama Worthy getting knocked out. I was able to catch glimpses and the finish of the Sugar Shane fight. I caught on the way to the after party what happened to poor Tyron Woodley. And then...
At least he pulled the trigger. At least he pulled the trigger this time.
He tried, man.
He went for broke. The last three previous losses looks like he was stuck in the water, wasn't doing anything. So, he went for broke at least this time.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? He's had a hell of a career, and either I think he needs to regroup, maybe take some fights out of the top 15 if the UFC doesn't cut him, and if they do cut him, maybe take some super fights with guys his age or older until he can get into a rhythm and find out if you can make a comeback. And I hate to put it that way, but again, when you've got 4 straight losses, there are guys like RDA that can have a career where they're fighting literally top 5 guys their entire career, but he's going back and forth with wins and losses. He's not getting finished,
And they're at least they're contestable bouts too. They're not like a one-way derailment.
Exactly. And then that brings us, John, to just an onslaught. I don't know how else to call it, because you look at that first round, and the fact that Stipe survived when he got up to the cage and his face was facing the cage, and he took those whap. It had to be 4 almost unanswered shots back and forth like a pinball, and turn around. I was like, is this guy ever going to recover? And I don't know that he did.
It's so much weight to be given up. 30 pounds. 30 pounds is a lot of weight, man. 30 pounds of muscle. Like that's why they have 125, 135, 145, 155. That's why there's like so many breakups in there, because 30 pounds is a lot of weight. And it would be great to see like a 225-pound weight class be formed, because, guys like Stipe, Arvlasky, there's a number of guys around that, 230, 240 spot. Even Kane maybe could make the 225 weight class, and, that should be like a cruiser heavyweight or something. I don't know.
I wouldn't be opposed to that, as long as if you wanted to fight heavyweight, you could at 220, and then you made maybe a 240, and at the same token, to give the heavyweight
yeah.
Well, it's for the other. Well, let's throw it on the flip side to that. To give the heavyweight something a little extra, you have a super heavyweight that basically is 255 all the way to 300. So it would be
not enough of those guys, though. I think
just maybe to sanction. Maybe you don't have a belt, but you just have. You know what I mean? There's enough guys that want to see it in Japan.
Well, I just think if we had a 225 and then, the heavy above that just doesn't have a ceiling on it.
Well, yeah, and so
if you're 285, I don't care if you're fighting somebody 400 pounds.
Yeah, but at the same time, that's when people start letting themselves go, right? And they're not training. If you could come in over 300, there'll be dudes that come in at 320 and they have no business being in there. And 45 seconds in, they're either going to be knocked out or so winded that they can't fucking throw a strike.
I feel like the market's going to decide pretty early whether or not those guys make it to the higher rank or not, or very short careers, I think, for the super heavyweight.
Yeah. Well, there's always those people like Sap, that stick around with the personalities, take all sorts of circus fights. Just a thought.
The album. There's some good fights on that card, though.
Yeah, listen, I only saw the main card, and I'll probably watch the prelims sometime over the week because I missed last week's prelims. I've just been so busy, and I did 3 nights in a row, John. I had an awesome time, man. First night, got to call him with Pat Miletich. Second night, got to call him with Jens Pulver. So I'd never met Pulver before. So me and Little Evil were sitting down having coffee beforehand at this cigar shop and everything. Great time all around. And third night, I actually called him with Jordan the Henchman Hinman, who's an LFA vet, et cetera, but he's the one that basically had his face crushed by that elbow that I played on air here. It ended up being quite the surgery, but he's doing well, and he was great on the mic. So we got to fly you out, John. You know, the next triple event, I got to convince them to bring you into the broadcasting booth. Tim Sylvia was there as well. I got to meet Tim for the first time. He's a monster.
Do a seminar. And,
that's what I'm saying.
Good time, dude.
You would clean up because there's so many camps there. Like even Jackson Wink went 1 and 2 over the week. Villa Senior was in the corner. He was coaching people. The Koch brothers were out there coaching this weekend. So really heavy. And by the way, guess what? Guess what, John? Well, you know what? Let's show some people some of the after party before I plug.
Masks, and it's a bizarre world, dude. We live in the multiverse right now. We're in the multiverse. You can literally go from one store to another, to a different town, and be in completely different universes.
Mm-hmm. See, in that sense, I agree.
Their mindset and what news they're listening to.
You nailed it. See, I speak out and talk shit all the time about how the multiverse is not real in the sense that, you know, all these realities are real. But right now on Earth, in this reality right here, we are literally living in the multiverse.
Yep. There's a group of people over here talking about QAnon stuff. You got people over there talking about blue anon stuff and Russian collusion. And you got people talking about viruses and robots. And it's just, man, what's happening?
So let's talk about what's happening.
Guys, get in shape, work out. Make sure you're at least got some cardio, because I don't know what's happening next, but you should at least be able to sprint for 5 minutes without throwing up.
Well,
get to there. Be able to fight a little bit.
I got to get there, dude. You're not wrong. And I'll tell you what, Pulver got a little pudgy, like from the last time I saw him, but like he says he's working out and whatever. Pat's actually in pretty good shape.
Work, shadow boxing, some body weight stuff. You got it. Like, just, you can't get the equipment. Something, guys. Something. Don't all this. Stay home. Don't go outside. Eat donuts.
Well, you get a free Krispy Kreme donut, if you anyway. So here's a great story. So that they almost didn't have my last event with the double event. It was all these things where they wouldn't let us sell beer, no concessions. When I wanted to go get a water, there was like a water corner. It was all this authoritarian nonsense. Okay.
Yes.
So
no, I've been trying to ask around about getting into some gyms and rolling with some people. And some of the gyms are wanting, a weekly COVID test.
Listen, John, come out. I know your boys, man. You got to just take your boys out here anyway, because at least they'd be back in school all the time. Like, at least, my girls, the only day that they have a half day is Wednesday. And we're fighting the masks tooth and nail still here. So there hasn't been too much madness. And there's a ton of gyms, dude. So anyway, it was this guy that tried to cancel the event last time. And he runs the River Center. All right. And I only had a slight interaction with him, but he was a real jerk off. Okay. He was a terrible person.
There's this authoritarian mindset of I have the most highest ranking facts from the highest officials. So I know everything. And if you don't listen to me, you must be stupid.
Well, that and trying to shut down the business. He's one of those guys.
I went to university.
So anyway, it comes down to it where we got this 3-night event, and I guess that he's just trying to be that same authoritarian thing. I hadn't been there yet. Remember, this started Thursday. We did Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And by the time I get there, I'm not wearing a mask. I'm just like, I'm doing my thing, and I see less masks. And I'm like, all right, what's going on here? So apparently the guy that's actually invested in the River Center, not the guy that runs it, right, was down there. And, you know, I'll just put it this way. The guy who runs Caged Aggression had a talk with him, and he reamed the dude out, and he's like, dude, you know, it's the first time I've ever felt unwelcome here. He's been putting these shows on here for years. And from that moment on, man, the ring girls weren't wearing them. Everybody else started taking them off. We made one announcement. Security was basically not enforcing anything. People were having a good time. Anybody can go watch the video. They'll be up for free shortly, but you can still catch them all on pay-per-view. But, dude, it was a great event. You know, everybody's having a good time. And this is what an after party looks like in Iowa, everybody. I just want to show you.
Just so you guys understand, this isn't a super spread event. I know it's 2021. And a lot of you are brainwashed into thinking that stuff like this shouldn't happen. But I've been to stuff like this the last fucking 9+ months. Wake the fuck up!
And then, of course, you know, you get the negative comments and blah, blah, blah. But we did it again, just so you know, to a more packed bar, just so people understand. 2 days later, Noah was sick.
Just a reminder, there are still people living their lives, not being slaves, and enjoying themselves without putting face masks on, jamming things in their ass, and sucking off serial killers like Andrew Cuomo. That's my PSA for the day, gentlemen. We'll see you on the flip.
Cuomo kills people.
And as you know, John, they have introduced the Excelsior Pass in New York. I'm sure you've heard of this yet.
Oh, man.
So
Excelsior. It sounds like a Seinfeld joke.
Right out of the gates in this Vanity Fair. I know. Well, they put it on the license plates, too, the last couple of years. It's kind of weird. Yeah. So right out of the gates, they start talking about if you want to go see Dave Matthews Band on the lawn at Spec. I just want to let everybody know that's in New York. I'll tell you right now, you shouldn't go to any concert if you need to have a mandatory test or vaccination, in my opinion. But I can assure you that SPAC on the lawn is one of the shittiest experiences ever. I've been there several times. It is awful. It's amongst the worst concert experiences you could ever have in your life. And I've seen great bands there like Sonic Youth, Pearl Jam, Red Hot Chili Peppers, and Stone Temple Pilots. It's a piss poor way to watch a show. Now, Biden yesterday, I'm not sure if you saw this, but announced that they will be putting in the boop boop passports nationwide, or attempting to. Now, this is an app on your phone. You will either need however many boop boops.
How can they even do this? How is this constitutional? How can they just force this through? Is there no pushback? Are they signing a bill? Is it an executive order? What the hell is happening?
Again, we have a zombie in office. Did you watch any of the press conference?
I saw some of the highlights of him just like forgetting what he's saying mid-sentence and being like, anyways.
Bro, that was...
We'll figure it out later.
Listen, man. The stuff that they put on fucking Fox News and all that, that was fucking patty cakes, okay? Let me explain to you how it really... I did the whole thing watch along when it came on just before
it was all scripted. He knew all the questions ahead of time. He knew who to call on.
John, on
teleprompter.
On top of it being scripted, he couldn't even do the teleprompter. He had note cards and printout sheets, and it went like this. So for the first question, first of all, he had to come off and read off a script out of the gates. He couldn't even like address the thing without reading off the script, okay? Then the first question gets asked, okay? I see you giving someone a look. Is that your boy?
No, I was looking at you talking.
Oh. So listen. So then it gets to the next thing where the person answers the question. Right now, we've seen the cheat sheets, right? Everybody's seen the cheat sheets that have been printed. Have you seen those, John?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I saw like people take pictures and zoom in on.
Yeah, exactly. The cheat sheets. So you're right, it was scripted. Now, one of the journalists had no idea it was scripted. So like it goes over to the side pan of the camera and he's like, next question. And only like one guy holds up his hand. And I immediately stop the video and I go, you see that guy right there? He doesn't know he's not on the list. I go, I guarantee you they're not going to call on that fucking guy. And they didn't. So then it gets worse. At one point, he's talking about being in the Senate for 120 years. He goes, 120 years ago, when I was in the Senate, no one calls him out on it.
The lizard people are good. The people who believe in lizard people are going to freak out.
He was, I think, addressing the filibuster issue. That's where he, and now you've seen where he rambled off into nowhere. That was a question about gun control that he started answering with a question about the economy that then trailed off into the mess you saw. Still not the worst thing he said. Okay, he was asked if we were leaving Afghanistan in May like was promised. He said, no, we were not. And then he rambled off that we would eventually, but he could not give a time frame. Again, not being covered off by the media. Worst thing he said, worst thing, you ready for this? He starts getting asked about basically the two-party system and the filibuster and Trump possibly running against him in 2024 if he was going to do it. And he deadpan, I fucking kid you not, said he wasn't sure whether there would be a Republican Party in 4 years.
Is there a Republican Party now? Has there been a Republican Party since the 80s?
Bro, it's as much as bad as
seriously, like you have the Democratic Party and Democrat Light.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, again,
that's since the 80s at least.
You're not wrong. I think it's more like
the Democratic Party is kind of the Republican Party anyways, except on social stuff.
I did a video, Walk and Talk today, and I said like this, look, you got these two establishments, and one was kind of set up to be this America first, fight for our freedoms, bomb the fuck out of anybody Republican idea, you know, kind of masked in this facade of conservatism, aka Christianity, morality, church, etc., right? And then the other one was, well, we're a little bit more socially liberal. We don't like that stuff. No. But we understand the terror's there. So we'll allow you to build the infrastructure, Homeland Security, the police state stuff, etc. But at the same time, our big agenda is the entire Earth's really at risk. And we got to do whatever we can to save the Earth. And it's gone from what? Global warming to now climate change to now regulation on carbon. And they were barking about that. And then you've got now Republicans, the conservative, I'm going, no, a lot of them going, yeah, climate change is an issue, but we're not going to do this. But they're the ones that are going to save us from the earth. So basically, they have been a uniparty, but they've been fronting on two different sides of globalism. And now, as you see the purge with the military, right? You've seen all this, have you not?
What's that?
The purge of the military?
You mean like ultra feminizing it and worrying more about...
John...
Getting
worse
more
than that,
equity in combat roles.
We're gonna have a fun show today, guys.
Military tough.
We're gonna have a fun show today. No, man, they actually fired 26 members of DHS this week. So hold on, fired
because they're the wrong political affiliation.
Yes.
Oh wow.
So yeah, let's see. Yeah. Among advisory council members, man, they just got rid of 26 of them. They literally just gutted the infrastructure of anybody they thought would be a problem. So then on top of that, with other people, you know about the weed smoking thing, right?
No.
So
Biden. You know.
So Biden's staffers.
I said New York is talking about legalizing recreational.
Nope, that's not it either. And this is another deal. So they asked all their staffers basically and told them they wouldn't get in trouble if they told the truth if they use marijuana. And obviously a bunch of them, being progressive liberals, used marijuana. Not that that's a bad thing, but admitted it, thinking it wouldn't affect them. They don't want any chance of free thinkers or empathetic human beings. They fired every one of them, John. They're cleaning house. And the thing is, so we talk about, going in Republican style in these never-ending wars in the Middle East, backed up by the left for sure. But we're going to need less and less people there because we got more and more drones and robots. So we can purge more and more of the military, and we can purge more and more of the infrastructure that might start catching on now that things accelerate and go, wait a minute, we're doing this against us? Whoa, I didn't sign up for this. That's where we're at. It's scary, man. Like, that's not the only example, DHS, of who they're taking out militarily. They're firing people left and right. So, on that great note, I thought that I would play this clip because Naomi Wolf is one of the few progressives, aka leftists, that gets exactly what the boop boop passports are about. Okay? And when you show this to people that still are defending a zombie president, acting like what we have going on right now is not criminal.
Like it's normal. Like, oh yeah, just go along with it. It's been a year. It's really weird, man. But
well, this is what it's about. Are you ready
for
it?
to see so many people who are just accepting of it. Just, we have the lockdown. It's just the way it is.
Here we go. Are you ready?
First, it was endless war. Now they want endless war on COVID. You think they're just going to let you get back to normal life and live it all in freedom after this? Not a chance. They love the power. They love the control. They love being the center of attention. They're not giving this up. Now they want vaccine passports to control who can go where, when. In England, they're talking about a government vaccine certificate to go to the pub.
A government vaccine certificate to go to the pub.
In New York, Governor Andrew Cuomo is handing out contracts to IBM for a Big Brother health passport system. In New Jersey, Rutgers University won't let students into classes without a vaccine certificate. And now, a bunch of power-crazed doctors just argued in the Wall Street Journal that we need a digital rapid detection system, integrating information from all sources, including routine reports to health authorities from medical providers, data from contact tracing databases, digital surveillance apps. Just today, the Biden administration said they're working towards developing a new nationwide vaccine passport standard. On and on it goes.
So I just want to stop it there for a second because you notice
they've had this for a decade and now they're just trying to implement it. That's what this is.
Oh, big time. And they're rolling it out.
All the stuff that Snowden revealed, that was all in preps to be able to do this. Yeah. That's all.
Yeah. Listen,
they're tracking you already, and now they're coming around to the final little thing that makes it, oh, see, it was all necessary to keep you safe from the evil virus.
This is it, man. This is the takeover.
Give us your guns.
Can you imagine? I mean, you're in California. You're about to taste it too. You're gonna have to fight this shit. But you just saw it. He mentioned it. It's part of the Excelsior pass. That's what my brother is going through with his daughters. You know, his daughter going to school, and it's a stress on the marriage at this point. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is his kid from a previous relationship, so he's dealing with that. But then on top of that, his 2 young children now. What are they going to do? Because this is an app. This is going to be mandatory vaccinations or tests all the time for anything they want, and it's going to be more than that. Naomi Wolf is going to explain that this isn't about a virus. This is about
create an underground.
There is not going to be an underground
system of goods and services, bro.
We need it.
Nightmare, Orwellian infrastructure of control, an unprecedented, undemocratic power grab by big business, big government, big bureaucracy. No, no, no. Here to react, author of The End of America, a letter of warning to a young patriot, Dr. Naomi Wolf. So excited that you could join us tonight. I'm just going to hand it over to you. What do you make of what we're about to see?
I mean, thank you, Steve. I'm really happy to be here. I am not overstating this. I can't say it forcefully enough. This is literally the end of human liberty in the West if this plan unfolds as planned. vaccine passport sounds like a fine thing if you don't understand what those platforms can do. I'm CEO of a tech company. I understand what this platform does. It's not about the vaccine. It's not about the virus. It's about your data. And once this rolls out, you don't have a choice about being part of the system. What people have to understand is that any other functionality can be loaded onto that platform with no problem at all. And what that means is it can be merged with your PayPal account, with your digital currency. Microsoft is already talking about merging it with payment plans. Your networks can be sucked up. It geolocates you everywhere you go. Your credit history can be included. All of your medical history can be included. This has already happened in Israel. And 6 months later, we're hearing from activists that it's a two-tier society and that basically activists are ostracized and surveilled continually. It's the end of civil society, and they're trying to roll it out around the world. And it is absolutely so much more than a vaccine pass. I cannot stress enough that it has the power to turn off your life or to turn on your life, to let you engage in society or be marginalized. And by the way, the last thing I'll say, IBM has a horrible history with Nazi Germany. Its subsidiary created a kind of precursor of this with punch cards that allowed the Nazis to keep lists of, again, a two-tiered society, Aryan and Jew, in such a way that they could round up Jews, round up dissidents, round up opposition leaders very, very quickly. It's catastrophic. It cannot be allowed to continue.
Let me just stop it there. So I just want to remind people, and I'm going to give some Alex Jones props to this one, because it was Alex Jones that brought that to my attention via his 2004 film. I think it was martial law, 9/11 martial law. He'd gotten Michael Moore on record, but the original IBM tabulation machines were used to round up dissidents. They absolutely knew, and Jews, and put them places. The original computers, and this didn't come out into the public arena until the late 80s and was barely really even talked about, and still isn't really talked about. Those people are still in power, John. And they're the people behind these same things of human regimentation of control. In the beginning of Invisible Empire, I have Franklin Delano Roosevelt saying, it is not new, it is not order, it is about the regimentation of all human beings. I mean, she's laying it out. We're going to play more of it, but what do you think so far?
Yeah, I mean, it's not a surprise. I'm not surprised, mother grabbers. Like, yeah, they've been trying to track everybody. They want to keep tabs on everybody.
This is, and this will be a way.
It's the government and the powerful's like intention always to subjugate people beneath them.
Dude, can you imagine that they
why
turn
would
your
we
crypto
think
off?
it's any different? We're supposed to have a constitution in this country that's set up to make sure that subjugation doesn't happen, but we've turned a blind eye to that document.
And she's also talking about
this is it. It's like we're headed for Chinese police state 1984 times 10. But like most people, it seems like they're just gonna embrace it and be like, "Oh, this is just life now."
I'm not. Like, I don't know if I'm going down in a blaze of glory, or I'm hoping like my state, dude, you're from Indiana.
Buy some Bitcoin, be ready to cash out and move to the woods.
Yeah, but what if they turn off? All right, so here's the thing. You need at least internet access to have Bitcoin, right? So
no, there is. I read an article where they used a ham radio.
Really?
They figured out a way to broadcast a Bitcoin wallet address and transmit Bitcoin with a ham radio.
Well, we do got a new ham radio guy in the group. So, all right, interesting. Let's keep playing this. Let's.
I don't know how valid that is, but if that's the case, then you have cold wallets and a source of electricity. You should be able to transfer Bitcoin.
Yeah, it's going to be tough for that electricity if I can't pay for it because I don't have a PayPal account or my Venmo's been canceled.
Generator. I move near some moving water and set up a.
I'm on the Mississippi.
There you go. There you go. Get that going. The hydro
wow,
electricity.
That was So powerful, such great information, and so important for us to understand it. You really made
I mean,
me
you
see
know,
it
like, dude, seriously though, no one gave a shit when Snowden dropped those bombs. No one cared. No one gave two Fs.
You know what though?
Right. And there was no incentive for them to accept it. There was no incentive to be like, oh yeah, well, the government, everybody's spying on me and recording everything, and jilted lovers can like tap into my cameras and watch what's going on and read through my text messages and stuff. No one cared. No one got up. No one did anything. No one really voted in any way, other than maybe people that were motivated to vote for Trump at the time. But like nothing really happened. So now like you have like a context of fear and like, oh my God, it's for your safety. Like, what are people going to do? You think people are going to fight back?
I would damn well hope so, because I was thinking about it today. We've all really right now been trained to behave in a manner that is completely anti-human. That's what this is. To stay away from each other, to accept medical martial law, to now accept a technopoly dictatorship of passes. Like the UFC thing sold out, and I'm with DeSantis. He's fighting this idea of vaccine passports, and I think that's what you're going to see.
Yeah, dude. It's the hero we didn't know we needed.
We'll see. We'll see where he goes.
We'll see where he goes.
We'll see where he goes.
He's at least fighting back against this stuff.
Hey man,
who knows
like
about it?
him and
Whatever
Naomi, Christy Nome in South Dakota, big time. You know, and I had somebody come out from South Dakota and was at the show, and she had a great time, and she was in the bar. You know, let's wrap it up with some doom and gloom, guys. Let's see the last 90 seconds of the reality of why you have to fight this thing. I know most of my audience is not taking this, but guys, your friends and family that are going to acquiesce to this and then try to pressure you for it, they have now become the enemy they want you to fight. And we're not supposed to be enemies. We're friends and family. We're human beings. It's a handful of people at the top that want this.
It's proper context. And the other thing it reminds me of course, is the Chinese regime today and the social credit system that they're using for exactly the kind of purposes that you're describing. Let's talk about how to fight this. I mean, we're completely in agreement about how appalling this is. What do you think we can do?
Well, you're exactly right, Steve, to mention China. I mean, how do you keep 1 billion people under the thumb of a totalitarian regime? The CCP can find any dissident within 5 minutes, and that can happen here literally within months. How do we fight it? Well, that's a longer conversation, but I've launched on my own platform a kind of freedom movement for left and right to come together to run people for state senate, to run people against tyrannical governors like Gavin Newsom, my own governor Cuomo, who's rolling out this tyrannical pass, you know, under emergency powers, and to really unite to take back our Constitution. But we have to bring lawsuits, and there have to be investigations. I mean, this violates the Americans with Disabilities Act. It violates HIPAA. It violates the First Amendment. It violates the Fourth Amendment. And we have to call up an army of lawyers and fund them to, you know, bring every lawsuit, but also just refuse to comply.
This is brilliant. I'm so excited to hear you speak. Okay, this will be a longer conversation. I would love to have you back.
So let's stop it there. But, you know, she answered your question in the very beginning, right? You said, is this constitutional? Is this against law? She's like, no, it's not. It's against the First, the Fourth Amendment. It's against HIPAA. It's against so many things that are already on the books and in place to protect us. The facade is thin.
Fight back, guys, and press charges. Get your lawyer involved.
That's it.
Fight back, get your lawyer involved.
Do not comply. Small businesses need to open up at full capacity now. You need to allow everybody through the door. You need to say a mask is your option. You need to say the same thing to your employees. And honestly, what you really should do is start live streaming it on a platform, your full day at work, your full interactions with people, and just try to be the most pleasant you can. Because not enough people are seeing it. What they are seeing is the fear working. You know what I mean? The Karen's going, and I hate using that fucking term, but going, you're not wearing your mask, or it's not over your nose. Have you seen these?
There's people, man, you go out to the park and you're walking, and there's people all by themselves with masks on out in the middle. There's no one else around them. They came there with the person they're with, still wearing the mask. I saw a couple people sitting at a picnic table wearing masks. You came there with the person, rode in a car together.
With the mask on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, they're telling.
Like,
Listen, man,
I'm gonna have a mask only mansion party. I think
just nothing but a mask.
nothing but a mask.
Can you wear it on your dink? You just saddle up. You know what I'm saying?
Nothing
By
but
the
a
way,
mask
Fitch,
party.
I want to congratulate you on that big fish that you caught over the weekend. It just so happened.
It was last Wednesday. It was.
Was that Wednesday? Yeah, it was probably Wednesday because I saw Thursday. Yeah, I saw it. And actually, I showed it to Militich because him and Sylvia were talking about big game hunting and fishing. And apparently, Sylvia's got a show on the Sportsman Network where he goes out and hunts. So, don't lose those things. Those are the things they don't want you to do. If you haven't seen The Hunger Games, remember in the opening scene of the first movie, it was a big deal for her to be off land and hunting for her own food to forage for her family where they could barely eat bread and under authoritarian control. Is that what you want for your family?
You're not allowed to eat the king's deer. But unfortunately, it was California fish, so you're only allowed to eat 3 a year.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you get mercury poisoning.
It's like, and listen, man, it's not a
Wonder
good
where that
thing.
mercury came from.
It's not a good thing that Bill Gates has been invested in GMOs for almost 2 decades. It's not a good thing that he's now the
Now he owns
largest.
all the farmland.
Yeah, now that he owns all the farmland, John.
Jeez.
It's not a good thing that Sweden is letting him block the sun in their country now openly, not through some kind of black project. They're going to try it.
What is that supposed to do? He's going to black? Why would you purposely? Yeah, let's black out the sun. It's like Didn't we see that in The Simpsons already?
Yes.
Didn't we already see that in The Simpsons? It's not going to end well.
Yeah, it's not going to end well. Do you know what else is nuts? That we got a couple other stories. Hell, it's 38. We still got some time. We got some time. Have you seen the Dr. Fauci children's book?
Why does anybody still listen to this guy?
Have you seen the children's book?
Hmm.
No? You want to know what's worse than just the children's book?
Dr. Fauci wrote a children's book.
No. Oh, no. Let's stop. Whoa. No.
Okay. Something's happening.
No. You see, it wasn't enough for Israel to give Dr. Fauci $1 million for all his great work with the pandemic. Now there is a national campaign about pushing a children's book about Dr. Fauci being a hero that will be taught to your kids in school. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to show this because this is a localized news piece, but it's one of those localized news pieces that if I wanted to do like the Sinclair type video where like everybody from the local news says the same thing, this is the package they send out, and then there's banter. Are you ready to throw up in your mouth? Because it's coming, John. Let's do it.
Time to get uplifted. Today we are featuring a well-known D.C. resident. In fact, he's been the face of America's response to the coronavirus pandemic and now the main character in a children's book. Of course, I'm talking about Dr. Anthony Fauci. The book is titled Dr. Fauci, How a Boy from Brooklyn Became America's Doctor. The book chronicles the doctor's life and provides important information on vaccines for children. A write-up on the book calls it the definitive picture book biography.
This is a commercial. This is a PR.
It's a national commercial.
She's an actor reading lines. Has nothing to do with news. This is not a news person. This is an actor who's acting like an anchor.
Now, I want to ask you, dude, when is the last time, not only during any event or emergency, that a children's book was made specifically about any government official that wasn't the president of the United States? Go.
Did Nancy Reagan get a book?
I don't think so.
Just Say No, or something about AIDS.
Now, we've had, Barack Obama's wife, Michelle, put out children's stuff, and we've had all that stuff before. But the reason I say that is because I can't name another time in history where the propaganda was so thick to promote somebody that is so hated hated by the vast majority of the country that they are now indoctrinating.
This is Exhibit 1 gaslighting.
Like, they're indoctrinating our kids and telling our kids he's America's doctor and then promoting his hyper medical agenda on those kids. This is nuts, man. This is completely bonkersville.
For Fauci. It follows the doctor from when he was just a kid in Brooklyn through medical school and his career working with 7 presidents. The book also has his facts about vaccines or just facts about vaccines, and provides tips for kids who want to be scientists. So the book is already available for pre-sale, and it'll be released on June 29th. I think that is fitting and perfect, and I love the fact that it'll be digestible for younger readers.
Exactly. I look forward to this. Dr. Fauci has become, a household name during this past year. Right. We've watched the news, we've talked about it with our kids, and they're learning.
I need to take that cover and make the real version of it. In fact, I think I'm going to take that cover and make the real version. I'll put some nice horns on there.
Put some money in his pockets.
Well, we'll have Bill Gates riding the bike over with a big basket full of syringes. And then we'll have a bunch of Kenyan children laid out sick and dying, or,
he killed a bunch of people too.
Yeah. Sudan. Oh, let's not get crazy. We don't, boopity boop, 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 boop. So, boopity boop. So, John, another wild thing that happened I just covered today. Were you aware that they had a hearing about making D.C. a state, but it's actually worse than that? You didn't hear anything about it, right?
We call it the capital.
Well, we already know that D.C.
independent country.
Well, we already know that D.C. is militarized, right? We're aware of that. There's no getting around it, and it may never be the same again. Well, I missed this, and I saw it today, and I couldn't believe it. And it's probably going to take a second to bring up, so we'll sit here and chat about it really quickly. But basically, there was this hearing, and you think, all right, D.C. statehood is one thing. It's probably not big enough to be a state, but there is the taxation without representation issue, etc. They want to do it so that the electoral votes go directly to the president and his family. So it's one of those things where it's almost unbelievable, right? It doesn't sound like what I'm saying could be possible, right? Okay, we're there. I'm gonna just let you listen to this because it gets wild. Okay, I had no idea this is happening, but you want to talk about corruption, you want to talk about fraud. Here we go.
Bring up some things that we've been discussing here for the last, hour and a half. The fact that this is simply a power grab. And the reason it's a power grab is the fact that the 23rd Amendment gets in the way of what the Democrats are trying to do without any Republican support. The things that had been brought up about D.C. would not have an airport, which most states have, if not all. The dealership, I will tell you that the only dealership there now is Tesla dealership, which is, I think, a high-end car. The only way the solvency of Mayor Bowser is because of the federal subsidies that subsidize the city. They have no source of income. In South Carolina, we have farming. In South Carolina, we have manufacturing. In South Carolina, we have mining. This new state, if it's formed, will have none of that. And Ms. Smith, let me ask you, getting back, the crux of this issue is the 23rd Amendment.
And watch this. This is where it gets good because he makes great points on why not to make it a state there. But when you hear this part, it's outlandish, bro.
You acknowledge in the Constitution the seat of government is right now in Washington, D.C., correct?
Correct, Congressman.
The 23rd Amendment provides D.C. residents participation in the presidential elections. It appoints a number of electors, the president, vice president, equal to the whole number of senators and representatives, as if it were a state, and it shall be no less than the least populous state. What is the least populous state in this country?
I am not sure of that right now, Senator.
It's Wyoming. Yeah. It's Wyoming. They have 3. How many electors of the district which are entitled under the 23rd Amendment are there?
3 electors, Congressman.
3 electors. So it's of the least populated states, which is Wyoming. And if H.R. 51 is passed, the 23rd Amendment would still stay intact, correct?
That is correct, Congressman.
And under the bill proposed, all of D.C. would become a state except a tiny sliver, which is the size of a park, which would become the federal district, correct?
That is correct, Congressman.
So that means the 23rd Amendment and Article 1, Section 8, this new tiny area would become the nation's capital or the new seat of power. It would still have the 3 electoral votes for president and vice president, correct?
Under the terms of the 23rd Amendment, that is correct.
Okay, and the new seat of power under this scheme would only have within it the White House, the U.S. Capitol, and some other federal buildings and the National Mall and some monuments. Is that right?
That is my understanding. It's a very small area.
So really, the only permanent residence in this new created seat of power would be the president, occupied by Mr. Biden. Is that right?
It is certainly conceivable that the first family would be the only residents or one of only a handful of residents of this new area.
So is it your understanding Mr. Biden would become electors and would be voting in the Electoral College in the 2024 election and would be still entitled to 3 electoral votes? Is that correct?
Well, H.R. 51 purports to deal with this situation by saying essentially anyone who lives in this new rump capital area would be entitled to cast their ballots in their previous state of residence if they would otherwise be qualified, except for living in this new capital area. And unfortunately, that doesn't deal with the constitutional issues and creates some of its own as well. But it is conceivable under the 23rd Amendment that, yes, the first family would potentially control 3 electoral college votes.
So they would set it up so whoever is in office, it wouldn't even matter, John. Forget about Joe Biden. Basically,
Already getting 3 votes.
all they have to do is vote for themselves. This is insane.
And you're getting 3 votes because that state is militarized or is behind that. Whoever, it's who they're pushing for president anyways.
It's the
So
craziest
they're
thing.
giving themselves 6. They're writing in 6 points.
Bro.
6 give-me's.
Dude, it's pretty nuts, but we've been talking about a lot of nuts things. Let's end it on some fights. Till Vittori, afternoon card. Prelims start at 11 a.m. Central Time. So actually the main card for you starts at, noon? Because it's 2 o'clock for me. Yeah, it's 2 Central Time for me. So noon for you on Saturday. I like Vittori. Till's got his hands full.
We've also got Bellator this weekend.
Is it finally on?
Light heavyweight, I think April 2nd, right, is beginning of the light heavyweight tournament.
You are correct, sir. How did I miss that? I thought it was mid-April. Pitbull versus Sanchez 2. I'm excited about that. So what is this now on Showtime?
We're going to have a Bellator UFC, then a Bellator, I think.
So is the DAZN deal just totally over now?
I think that they are doing something with Showtime, I thought.
Yeah, that's it. So
that was their big announcement recently, was that and the light heavyweight tournament, I think.
So what else we got? We got Usman Nurmagomedov. The Eastern Europeans are always tough. Neiman Gracie versus Jason Jackson. I like that. Wow, Jason Jackson's gonna have his hands full. You know from experience.
Yeah, I'm calling round 1 rear naked choke.
Yeah, Neiman. That's probably Neiman. Let's see. Don't know either of these young ladies. Oh, and Mitrione's on the card too. Tyrell Fortune.
Mitrione's coming back.
I like that. Tyrell Fortune's actually tough. That's a big fight for him. It's a big step up in competition, but Mitrione needs to watch himself. Let's see if there's anything else on the undercard that's super interesting. A lot of younger guys. Are they gonna have a crowd for this?
I don't think I've heard anything about a crowd yet. We do have UFC. Next UFC is going to have a crowd.
Yeah. Well, Huerta Gonzalez, that sold out in minutes, dude. Did I tell you what the price was for the pre-tickets?
When you man, did you watch? Yeah, okay. So you watched some of the fights Saturday. Did you see like the celebrity, A-listers or whatever they have
Oh.
around so they had a crowd, but it was like all like the elites. They were there, no masks, everybody's chilling, having fun.
I saw Travis Barker with his girl. I did see that.
Yeah, so like you can see it already. It's happening. Like
Hunger
the
Games.
split's happening. The plebs and the elites, there's going to be a total, and then people are going to be conditioned. Oh yeah, well they deserve it. They're better than us. I'm sure they had stricter protocols to get there, obviously.
Dude, I know, bro. I know. For a fight night card, this is not terrible. They got some good ones on here. In the main card, there's a lot. It looks like there's 6 fights. Mike Perry is going to kick off the main card on the UFC versus Daniel Rodriguez. Sam Alvey fighting Julian Marquez, heavily muscled dude. What else we got for the prelims? Jim Miller's on the prelims. Wow. Scott Holtzman, John McDessie. A lot of veterans here. Jorgen De Castro. Lots of fights. Damn. I'll be watching.
There was recently announced a fight I was excited about. Tony Ferguson and I forget who's Tony Ferguson fighting. Oh, Dariush.
Oh, Beneil? Really?
I think.
Well, I guess you know what? That's a good one because if Beneil wants to climb up and he wants to finally try to get that title.
Yeah, make a break for him. If he wants to be in that upper echelon, he's got to win this fight.
Yeah, he definitely does. This will probably be his last chance to, unless there's like a string of injuries and like potluck and like, one of those Ally Akinta chances at the title, comes up. You know what I'm saying? This is it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? John Fitch, I have Union of the Unwanted coming up in 7 minutes that I'm going to be taping, by the way, guys, and putting pieces up here, there, and everywhere. Tell people where they can find you and your stuff, John.
Go to johnfitch.net, sign up for the newsletter, John Fitch Smash on Instagram. I got Gumroad /John Fitch. I got courses, things available there. Check it out. John Fitch Knows Nothing, Sundays at 7. Yeah.
What was last night's John Fitch Knows Nothing?
We talked about coaches and picking coaches, whether it's for athletic reasons or business or dating, whatever. Like I had 10 points of things you should probably look at when you're picking a coach for yourself.
Interesting stuff. GruelingTruth.com. That's where the audio podcast is at. And we are both on rockfin.com. That's where I can get a little bit wilder about the boop boop talk. I'm going to be doing that later as well. 13,644 followers strong over there, guys. Let's get it to 15,000. And remember, if you're a premium member of myself or John Fitch, you not only get both of our content, but everybody on the platform. And there should be some big names and big announcements coming to the platform shortly, John.
It's going to be good.
All right, brother. We'll see you next week. Later on, folks.
Later. See you guys.